to you later.
That was the last video message that I got from him. Bradley and I, we met at Vacation Bible School at the church that we attended. I was 14. Bradley was the type of guy that never met a stranger. He would drop whatever he's doing to come help you, and he was just amazing. On January 28th was normal morning. Bradley got up, got dressed, got his lunch, hugged and kissed me and all of our byes. It's just, never thought it would happen.
A quiet apartment complex on the north side.
Gwinnett County 911. I'm being shot. Lying on the ground, not moving. Gwinnett County 911. I just heard a gunshot. Did you see what happened? No, yeah. The maintenance guy just came in and said that it was a pest control vendor. He's on the sidewalk. We do have help on the way out there.
How long ago did you find him?
Literally 4 minutes ago.
For homicide detectives, their chance of solving a murder is cut in half if they don't get a lead within the first 48 hours.
Hey, Lawson.
10:15, we got a call that one of the vendors that does pest control was found shot in front of one of the buildings.
Okay. What's the victim's name?
Bradley Jordan.
Bradley Jordan.
23-year-old Bradley Jordan was the first of his family to graduate from high school and worked with his father in the pest control industry. He married his high school sweetheart, Hannah, just 4 months ago, and they had a 1-year-old son. Bradley also leaves behind his parents and 3 siblings.
That's a lot of blood.
Just one entry here, it looked like.
Behind his left ear?
Yes.
It looked like there was stipple on the side of his face.
Bradley was shot once in the head at close range.
We have a shell casing next to the body. It's next to the front wheel of that black vehicle.
The casing is a 9mm.
He has a can right next to him. That's the cans that they use to spray. My guess is he's coming down with the can, is coming back to his vehicle, and then gets shot. Gets executed in the back of his head.
Detectives believe the shooter walked up behind Bradley, catching him by surprise.
His pants are tight enough to see his wallet and his phone in the pockets, so I mean it's...
We can get that phone in his pocket.
It was already set to never auto lock.
The team searches Bradley's recent messages.
My one and only. This morning she's like, babe, call me, please, I love you. It's probably his wife.
What time was that, all after?
Yeah, it was all after.
And find several missed calls and texts from family.
I don't know. I gotta figure out why a guy would be executed in a breezeway while he's at work.
That's the start. Okay.
Bradley's father, who also works for the pest control company, rushed to the scene after hearing one of his co-workers had been shot.
Were you and him working today together?
No, we all work by ourselves.
How often does he come here?
Every week.
Every week? Same day every week?
Yeah.
Same time every week?
Usually about the same time, plus. He's only 23. He's just a kid. I don't know why anybody would hurt him. I mean, because he's just a nice kid. He goes to church. He doesn't have any enemies. He don't have no beef with nobody. My wife and my other son's at home, and I've got to get there with him. My wife, she's freaking out.
Do you want me to see if I can send the unit over there?
No,
Okay.
I just need to be there with him.
Okay.
One hour in,
Okay, if you could just tell me everything from the beginning, as much detail as you can.
Lawson interviews one of the 911 callers in her apartment.
I brought my dog out, and we're very close to the entrance. I heard the shot, and then I saw this guy just slowly go down, and I'm like, shit. And then this guy, he spun that way, so he must have seen me. Otherwise, why would he spin around and crouch? And then he took off through the breezeway.
She says the shooter ran toward an apartment complex across the street.
I'm like, oh my God. I saw the gun. It was a short-nosed gun. And
Clothing?
I noticed he had the khaki pants. He had a light colored shirt.
Any facial hair or anything like that?
I didn't really see his face, so I couldn't identify him.
Okay. Did you hear anything said?
Not a word.
Nothing?
Not a sound. There wasn't a single person out here except me.
She said she saw him drop, and then said it's a small snub-nosed handgun.
There was no argument. There was no. He didn't rob him. He didn't take anything from him. He just freaking straight out executes this guy. That makes no sense.
I'm gonna go start canvassing for cameras, see if I see anything on apartments.
While the team searches for video in the complex where the shooting occurred,
The female said they ran through here.
the K-9 unit hopes to pick up the suspect's trail.
Okay, I'm picking up crack right here. He could have ran down this hill. Here's the footprint right here. He's picking something up over here. Hold on. I don't have anything here or there.
The suspect's trail goes cold in the parking lot of the apartment complex across the street.
When our canines were tracking them, they traveled on this side, but this was already here. So this is where it looks like he slid down. And then there's some tracks that go that way. I'm going to photograph those as I go.
Two hours in,
Let me talk to this maintenance guy.
patrol finds a witness outside the apartments across the street.
So what did you see this morning?
¿Qué fue lo que vio esta mañana? Veía que venía una persona, pero me extrañó porque estaba sin este abrigo, ¿verdad?
The witness saw the man minutes before patrol arrived at the crime scene.
Era un hombre tal vez de tez moreno.
What color was his shirt?
¿De qué color era la camiseta? Un color claro, tal vez como gris.
His pants?
El pantalón era de una gris tal vez, pero claro. Y en su pantalón, en la parte de atrás de su pantalón, por la altura de su pompi, ¿no? Se veía sucio.
Okay. The stain itself, was it consistent with like somebody falling?
Yo pienso que se sentó en algún lado porque estaba muy en la zona de su pompi, ¿verdad?
Okay.
Es cuando veo que va hacia una minivan de color verde.
Okay. You happen to know a make or model?
Una Ford Aerostar.
All right, thank you.
The dog tracked to that spot where they saw him get in that van.
The dog tracked, there's like a muddy trail, and the witnesses are seeing him all muddy.
That could be our suspect vehicle. It's possible that could be our suspect vehicle. So right now that's the vehicle we're gonna go look into.
Were you able to upload the video?
Yeah, the actual video is right here.
The team finds a doorbell camera next door to where Bradley was murdered.
Right there. Ford Aerostar van.
To the van. So at 10:03, we got him coming down through here on this camera.
A green Aerostar drove through the complex 10 minutes before Bradley was murdered.
And that same van was seen parked at a complex next to here.
And the dog did track all the way to where he was parked.
The van is missing a hubcap.
Detectives are unable to make out the tag number.
They don't have cameras at the front entrance coming in, correct?
They're not working.
We have technology on our side as far as flock cameras.
The sheriff's office will search for the green Aerostar on cameras located at major intersections throughout Gwinnett County.
So hopefully we can get some more tags. The property manager saw the vehicle yesterday between 1 and 3.
The property manager gave a description of the driver.
Black male with glasses. He said there's prescription, black frames. So that's the second time they've seen this van.
The van came in here yesterday, so he's obviously canvassing this place. For some reason.
Could be. Otherwise, this would be really random, just him to get shot out here while he's doing his pest control work.
Just 3 hours in, the team gets a break.
We found that same van this morning at 9:30. Walmart down the street on a flock camera.
45 minutes before the murder, a green Aerostar was captured on camera 2 miles from the crime scene.
It's a green Astro van that's missing a hubcap.
Okay.
Same hubcap that's missing in this video. And they have a tag for it and the registered owner. And it's a black male.
Okay.
This is the registered owner of the vehicle.
The owner of the van, 26-year-old Rakeem Wilson, grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, and works as a cook at a local restaurant.
Just because the car was riding through here does not mean
that he killed it. No,
he killed this guy.
I agree with that.
Let's take a deep breath.
You got a pretty strong linkage.
The dog tracking from here to over there.
And
that helps it because now you have
does.
the people saying he was covered in mud. Have that vehicle description. They see this guy get in.
Definitely have enough PC to get into the car.
Our victim, unfortunately, he was just here for work doing pest control. So it's weird that this has happened.
I definitely think it's personal because it was one shot to the head. There's nothing taken off the body. Hopefully we can figure out some kind of connection or why somebody would want to do something like this.
Minutes later, the case takes a turn. Gang unit officers spot the green van 10 miles from the scene.
We're at. Supposed to go down that area?
And find Rakeem Wilson behind the wheel. He agrees to talk at homicide.
Vehicle appears to be clear.
And his van is brought down to headquarters.
Nobody saw him shoot anybody.
We have no physical evidence against him except for the van. I'm worried about the fact he didn't get in the van here. He got in the van across the street at the other complex. They didn't see him leave from here. They didn't see him come from this complex.
No.
All this could be a coincidence?
Right. So that's my problem.
Unfortunately, I think this is one of those things where you have to play the hand that you're dealt.
Yep.
Lawson heads back to homicide to interview Rakeem Wilson.
We'll go up there. We'll go do our thing. When you deal with a homicide where you can't find an obvious or even an underlining motive, it is scary. At the end of the day, we want to find justice for the Jordan family and for the son as he goes on and does his journey without his dad. I can relate to that. You know, I lost my father at a young age. I was 6 at the time that he died. He was involved in a car accident where it was suspected that the other driver was intoxicated. And so knowing that Jordan's son is going to grow up without his father, that's a sobering thought. He will have a lot of resentment and anger, just like I have, but you can't hang on to that. You got to deal with it and move on to be productive. All I can do is be the best that I can be, and hopefully he looks down and he's proud.
Right now, we're trying to establish PC for our homicide. We have no physical evidence against him to suggest that he is the suspect in this case, except for the van. So any point, if he decides to leave, we have to let him walk out the door. It's going to take us a few hours to search the van. It's important for us to keep him talking, occupied, so he does not leave.
Clock's on. What was his demeanor?
He was calm. He didn't even ask really why I was doing what I was doing. He wasn't like agitated. He kept saying that he was going to go clean his car out. It looks like he lives in his car. He got toothbrush, toothpaste.
Well, we're trying to build a rapport with this guy. Smith's going to do the search warrant on the vehicle.
We're going to have to speed up this whole process.
All right, you ready?
Let's knock it out of the park.
A lot's riding on this interview.
Is it Mr. Wilson?
Yeah.
All right, excellent. Can you sit right here for me, sir? Thank you. So we're just going to talk to you, get some information.
Just trying to figure out why I'm here.
Your vehicle is unique, and so we have interest in your vehicle. That's part of the reason that you're in this room right now.
Okay, I was just leaving the gym and I had to clean out my car because I'd be sleeping in my car. I work right there. I work at Hooters and I work at the Margot's. I make pieces.
What do you work at?
LA Fitness off Pleasant Hill. So, I mean, I didn't do anything out of the ordinary.
Okay. What time did you go to LA Fitness to work out?
It was maybe like 10.
At 10:03, we got him coming down through here on this camera.
LA Fitness at Pleasant Hill and Sweetwater. See if this guy has a gym membership and see if he scanned to go in this morning.
How could we do when he was there for questions?
Well, that's what we're trying to verify.
He's talking, so that's a plus.
Detective Brian Dormany heads to Rakeem's gym to check out his alibi.
What am I here for? You know, I know it's not illegal to leave your car, but I didn't do nothing.
We've had a real big rash of HVAC systems that are being stolen.
Dunning tells Rakeem they're investigating the theft of several air conditioning systems.
And damage and
No, I'm homeless. So I ain't out here stealing nothing or nothing. There's no stolen property in my car. I work, I get money. I haven't did nothing. I'm a law-abiding citizen.
He's not been anything like anybody would normally be.
No, very calm, but he's not saying, hey, get me out of here.
I'm sure you know, everywhere you drive, there are cameras, okay? You're in an apartment complex at the same time that you say you're at LA Fitness working out. You've already decided you want to lie to us about where you are, and so that's why I'm asking you about...
Wait, what? Am I a suspect in something? Why? So the cops pulled me over. What happened? Like, why am I here exactly? I just got pulled over out of nowhere.
Did you go to the Walmart today?
Dunning asks him about the location where his van was seen on flock cameras 45 minutes before the murder.
Okay, yeah, that was, oh, yeah. I went to the Walmart, so what time is it now? So, I went to Walmart before I went to the gym. Yeah. And I probably took some back roads back. I probably made a U-turn in, Sugar Mill apartment.
Rakeem admits to driving through the apartments where Bradley was murdered.
Is that the first time you've been in Sugar Mill's apartments?
The property manager saw the vehicle yesterday between 1 and 3.
Why would you say specifically yesterday?
Yeah, I'm looking for something that happened yesterday.
No, I'm not.
Any tools or anything like that? Any wrenches, screwdrivers, blowtorches, anything that would assist in removing an HVAC system or anything like that from behind the business?
Oh, no. I ain't gonna find nothing strange in my car.
While Lawson and Dunning try to keep Rakeem talking,
Here's the search warrant.
Smith and CSI have a warrant to search the Aerostar.
Khaki pants, a white shirt, and the muddy shoes are something we're looking for too.
Yeah.
And then the gun.
Gun is the most important for right now.
9mm.
He does have a notebook in here. He's like suing everybody on conspiracy theories. Like he's suing Homeland Security, he's suing the government.
Just take a picture of the insides because it's a little weird.
Khaki pants over there in the house.
They muddy?
I feel like he went somewhere and washed the clothes because those pants looked like they were wet.
I mean, a picture of them.
They got muddy shoes.
They look like rocks.
Yeah, those shoes, they look like slip-ons.
Yeah, they're mud.
Yeah, mud all over them.
Take a picture of the gun real quick so I can send it to Pat.
So now I'm going to take this gun over to the range, and we are going to have it test fired. So we can get that round back over here and immediately try to compare it to the round from the scene. Will you text them that?
Yeah. Anything else that would be of importance in your car that we should know about? Nothing strange at all? Outside of the trash, clothing, tools, weapons, anything at all? I don't know.
Nope, I have a weapon in my car.
Okay.
That I recently bought. It's a Ruger 9mm.
I just bought that gun because I was sleeping in my car. Somebody tried to like wiggle my doorknob and get into my car one night, and I was like mad paranoid after that.
As far as what you remember, you're working out today.
I was at the gym this morning. You could check my movements, everything. I wasn't nowhere doing nothing with nobody.
Okay. Well, let us follow up on some things and see if we can get you out of here as quickly as possible.
That's fine.
All right.
1 hour into the interview with Rakeem.
Here's the thing, we're getting to the point where we're stretching out how long we're going to be able to.
The gun needs to be test fired. That could take 2 to 3 hours. We have to keep him talking while this whole process takes place.
Okay. I was trying to stall us as much as we can.
He keeps asking, why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I here?
I would just start putting the things out that we already know.
Okay.
When you said Walmart, oh yeah, I did go there. And then he kept talking, and then did you go anywhere else? No. And then somebody said something about the apartment complex. You go in the apartment? Oh yeah, I did. I made a U-turn in the apartment complex.
Every time we start to confront him with that, like, oh yeah. He will backtrack. So we're going to have to give him stuff.
You want to hit him with the muddy clothing first before you confront him with the other stuff, because he starts getting on the defensive, he may shut down.
Okay. You good with that?
Yeah.
Go back in and continue talking to him.
Detective Lawson wanted to discuss something else real quick.
We're in your vehicle right now. Okay? And so one thing that I'm curious about is the muddy clothes that are in the front of the vehicle, which is fresh mud. How did that occur?
Why? What does mud have to do with this?
Did you go into another apartment complex outside of Sugar Mills today?
No, I did a couple U-turns. I was just joyriding, minding my business.
So is there a possibility that you did another U-turn in another complex? Because here's the thing, I had witnesses that describe you.
No, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. When you saw the pants,
yeah,
the light-colored pants with mud all over them,
which are in your vehicle right now. No. That's why we're asking you about this. So what is that? Make us understand it.
No, sir. No. Nah. I don't know what y'all talking about.
Is he looking for this guy?
To park all the way over there and walk, that's premeditated, so I don't know. There's some kind of connection with him, with that guy. At this point, it doesn't make any sense.
That gun's gonna tell it all. We're gonna know soon.
We're in your car. You've got a gun in your car.
I have a gun for my protection.
I need this weapon test fired. What kind is it? It's a Ruger 9mm. We're just in a time crunch holding this guy because we really don't have much to hold him on, so everything's just trying to go as fast as we can right now. There we go. Wonderful. I'll let you know if it matches.
Detective Smith will have the test-fired casing compared to the shell casing found near Bradley's body.
The dad of the victim said that he's a good kid, he goes to church all the time, he's got a new wife, and they have a kid. As far as this potential suspect, right now the motive is the thing that's really bothering us. What transpired for him to want to shoot this guy if he did?
Okay, well, here's the thing. At the apartment complex that you drove in at 10:03, 10 minutes later, a person is killed. Okay? And your description...
in here for murder. Who got killed?
There's a guy from pest control.
Laying in the parking lot. Your description is given by witnesses.
Dude, I don't know what type of stuff y'all doing. Well, that don't have nothing to do with me. I ain't killed nobody. Like I said, my stuff checks out.
None of your stuff checks out.
Your ain't checking out.
Listen, y'all need to calm down. Y'all talking to me. I'm not a killer.
Well, right now it looks like you are.
I don't do these conversations. I don't know what y'all talking about.
He's flustered now.
Yeah, he is. He didn't know what to do. He'll rub his head or his belly.
He gets uncomfortable, he starts rubbing his head with his brother.
I was working out. All I did today was work out. I ain't do nothing talking about killing people.
Well, maybe perhaps you worked out.
Perhaps I didn't kill anybody.
Well, 10 minutes before the killing, you're in Sugar Mills Apartments. And that's on video.
Doing a U-turn.
So you said?
You can't.
I think you were doing a murder.
Bro, it wasn't me, bro. And don't be in here talking to me like you crazy, because I ain't killed nobody. I'm not a killer. I'm out here working hard, going to work. That's it. I got in trouble a while back for a burglary charge. I worked real hard to get on probation for that.
You're not here just randomly.
But you have to call Ellie Fitness because I was at Ellie Fitness this morning.
And we've got somebody working on that.
A half hour later, Dorminey gets video from Akeem's gym.
So, Rakeem Wilson's right here.
11:17, so it's an hour after the 911 call.
Rakeem arrived at the gym an hour after Bradley was shot.
Basically in the middle of this workout area. Doing a little bit of a press.
I have a hard time believing that someone is that cold that they can go pump iron after taking somebody's life. I'd probably be freaking out and driving as far as I could, but that is not normal behavior. We have to see what that firearm suggests.
A lot's riding on the gun that's in the car.
Then,
Shoe tread matches.
In the mud?
Yeah.
The shoe that's in his car matches the tread that's on the shoe.
I was about to just do my application and stuff.
I'll give you another little fact. The shoes that are in your car, the shoe print matches the track.
Dude.
And we have proof.
I worked out, I did mine right.
Did you go to the gym after you killed that man?
And take a shower?
Did you go to the gym after you killed that man in that apartment complex?
I didn't kill no man, bro. You trying to put this on me. Oh, you got so lucky this guy was in the area. No, I didn't kill that man, bro.
We've got your black Crocs with the mud on them. It's still wet to the touch.
Matching the shoe prints on scene.
I don't really care about, I want to focus on the mud. Everybody probably got mud on their shoes right now. Everybody probably got a 9mm in their house, and why you not knocking on doors to see who killed that man? Whoever he was pest controlling probably killed them. I never been in no First 48 office talking about murders, no gang activity, none of that crazy stuff. That gun
does not even leave the car.
We're just all gonna stand over Brittany's shoulder.
This is the casing from the scene. We take a picture of the head stamp to see like what type of characteristics could be a potential case link to the other casings. It's submitted, so I just have to wait for an email for them.
A firearms examiner will compare the markings on the two fired casings.
How long does it normally take her to look at them and compare?
Well, not long, like within an hour.
If they match, he's done.
We're going to test fire that gun, okay? And we're going to see if that shell casing from the test fire matches the shell casing that's next to the body.
It's not that gun that killed that man.
And that's the only gun you've ever had? Or
That's the only gun I ever had, weapon I ever had. My gun didn't kill that man.
Anything, Brittany?
Not yet.
The firearms examiner is looking for tiny striations or grooves that appear on both casings.
Hey, no, we're still waiting. I mean, she's supposed to expedite it, but no, we don't have it. Right. They don't have patience.
All right, got it.
Come on, be a match.
It matches.
Go ahead.
Hey, the shell casings match.
Yes! It matched.
All right.
It matched.
We're gonna finish the search warrant on the car.
All right, hey, appreciate
All right, bye. No problem. Was that Shelly that went, yeah?
I've never heard him that happen.
I neither. It's the best physical evidence we can have.
Guns match.
Okay. All right. So guess what? Shell casing on scene matches your gun.
No way.
As your gun that is in your car matches the shell casing that is found next to his body. Period.
Told you that was
Period. Do you want to just let go?
This man was killed with a 9mm.
With your gun.
Ruger.
With your gun. It was killed with your gun. No denying that. Tests do not lie. When it fires a shell, a round goes out, the shell casing has marks on it. That shell casing next to this dead body comes from your gun.
We've given you all the opportunity in the world to try to explain what happened today.
I'm not a murderer, bruh. Stop talking to me crazy in here. Y'all need to investigate this. I didn't do it.
We already found out who did it. It's you. You're being charged with murder. No ifs, ands, or buts. Your gun was used in that
I'm
murder.
gonna have to prove that in court, because I didn't kill anybody. And especially no pest control dude.
I'm trying to find out why he died for no reason. That's what I don't understand. It's a life. It's a son. Why did he have to die?
Look, this dude is not connected to me in any way. Like, I don't know what you're saying about firearms.
That's the sad part of it. That is the sad part of it. We're done.
Okay.
This was definitely not an easy case. That was the most uncomfortable interview that I've done, and I've been doing interviews for a while.
Just 10 hours into the first 48, Rakeem Wilson is charged with the murder of Bradley Jordan.
So y'all just take people off the street and blame them for murder and put them to death.
We presented you with more than enough evidence. You'll have your day in court.
He didn't want to admit to anything. The family obviously doesn't have any reason for this, and I don't either. That's kind of hard. I don't have anything that showed that this victim had put himself in a situation other than going to work that day to be a victim of a homicide. We're trying to get to a motive.
Lawson gets a lead on a possible motive from the notebook recovered in Rakeem's van.
Everyone there has the same license plate starting with the letter R. I did not realize I'd been targeted, and they obviously tapped my internet network and control the search results.
Rakeem's writings suggest he believed he was being followed by government officials, and that all of their license plates contained the letter R.
That has an R in it. R.
In Rakeem's phone, Lawson finds several photos of license plates with the letter R.
Every single car that he comes across, he takes a picture while he's operating his vehicle. All of these people were potential victims. Crazy. Just timing, circumstances.
It just happens to be that the vehicle that belonged to your victim had a license plate that starts with R.
Yep. He takes pictures of our victim at 10:01 inside the Sugar Mill Apartments. So he's already focused on, oh, here's another person that's following me or is controlled by the government. The tag displayed on his vehicle just happened to contain a letter that set Mr. Wilson off.
Moving forward, is he competent enough to stand a trial?
Yeah.
He's seen on video 10 minutes before near that building, but he had the wherewithal
to park
at another complex nearby and make his way back on foot.
And that's rational thinking. Yes, it's twisted thinking, but that is of somebody that's competent to reasonably think out a plan to make somebody their victim. I have a strong feeling it would not have been his last.
This is the first year he coached me.
He made everyone feel like they were important on the team, that everyone had a place. And he would run the bases with a superhero cape on. Just to be silly, to make someone laugh, to, you know, because that's the person he was.
He taught me to show people love that even didn't show us love. Make everybody feel family.
I just wish this guy would have known Brad. You know, to know that you took someone that would have been there for you.
What I'm going to miss most is the looks that he gave Oliver. Like when Brad looked at Oliver, you could see the love.
He loved being that father. You know, it really breaks my heart.
Oliver doesn't get to experience the great dad that he was going to be.
Probably the top thing that I miss about Bradley is sitting with Oliver. Bradley was probably the best father I knew. When he would come home from work, Oliver, he would run to Bradley and he would be so excited. Oliver probably knows that he's gone, but he's too little to actually understand. I would just tell him, your dad passed away when you were 1.5 years, not go into the details. I don't think I could tell my kid that. Because then I wouldn't have a reason why. I don't have a reason why.
The boyfriend provided his login credentials so investigators could cross. Reference names. He was bleeding from where? Watkins asked. Okay, let me go see if I can find a picture and I will come back. Okay, what was he saying that made you think he set the fire? Mike, you were saying he had to fix Taboo's mistake? Okay, is that Devin? That is Devin. 26-year-old Devin Scrivener was from Sperry, Oklahoma, and had no prior felony convictions. And his girl is. Watkins noted as the witness provided her name. He gives them the name of Devin's girlfriend who lives on the west side. Watkins stepped into the hall to brief Kennedy, who had just returned from court. Man, we just finished talking to him, Watkins reported. He said Mikey was with them. This guy named Devin was with them. He said Devin was bleeding from his hand. So Devin is probably going to be one of the little minions the girl was talking about, Kennedy deduced. Yes. So far we got Tad, and I think we are good with Mikey Brummett at this point. Yeah, because that is 2 people that put him there. But I still have to wait on the medical examiner's office to give me a positive identification on who the body is before I can file formal charges on these suspects. Right. Moments later, Kennedy's phone buzzed. Just got a call from Angela Berg from the medical examiner's office, Kennedy announced, hanging up. And the remains have been positively identified to be that of Stephen Wilkins. She was able to get some radiology pictures from a local hospital and compared those to the remains, and they were able to make a positive match from that. So plan today right now is just we're going to go find Devin. He seems to be maybe the younger guy of the group and hopefully the weak link. We're going to hit him pretty hard about some things and see what he will tell us. Kennedy and Ward drove directly to the West Side address associated with Devin's girlfriend. That's it right there, Kennedy pointed. That's the house we are going to. They pulled into the driveway and knocked on the front door. A resident answered cautiously. What's going on, man? Kennedy greeted. I just need to talk to him real quick. I just need to ask him a couple questions. Like, he really doesn't stay here, the resident insisted. He comes here with her every now and then. He stated he had not seen Devin or his girlfriend in weeks. Are they around, or are they got a vehicle around here a little bit? Kennedy asked. Oh, they are driving around, the resident offered. What is it? It's an Escalade, the resident answered. Kind of a cream color. Cream color, okay, Kennedy noted. All right, well, hey, man, thank you so much. No problem, the resident nodded. Appreciate it, Ward added. You said a creamish Escalade? Kennedy verified as they returned to their unit. Kennedy and Ward spent the remainder of the afternoon scouring the streets of West Tulsa for the vehicle. What's that? Ward pointed toward an intersection. That could be it right there, Kennedy observed. Oh, that is an avalanche. Yeah. That one right there on the corner. Oh, yeah, he is going to be slippery. By nightfall, Devin remained elusive. No luck today, Kennedy noted. Devin is nowhere to be found. I will find him in our system. We will catch up with him eventually. In the initial 48 hours, Tulsa Homicide had responded to the discovery of human remains in a garage that burned down 5 months prior, positively identified the victim through medical radiology as 55-year-old Steve Wilkins, interviewed key witnesses who stated Tad Kleiner admitted to beating Steve over a baseless rumor regarding his ex-girlfriend, and identified Devin Scrivener and Mikey Brummett as co-conspirators. After searching for Devin for 2 additional days, officers located the cream-colored vehicle parked outside a residence on the west side and took 26-year-old Devin Scrivener into custody without incident. Kennedy and Ward walked into the interrogation room where Devin sat waiting. All right, buddy, Kennedy began warmly, placing a notepad on the table. So, I am working a case that happened over there at South 54th West Avenue. There was a body discovered over there that I heard about it. Devin interrupted nervously. Yeah, I heard about it. It is going to be a guy by the name of Steve Wilkins, okay? Kennedy stated directly. You know that name? Familiar, Devin murmured, looking down at his hands. Okay. Obviously, we have been doing a lot of talking to people, and trust me, people are talking. Kennedy leaned in. And here's the thing. He got the hell beat out of him, shot, and you were there when that happened. I don't think you pulled the trigger, but you were with Taboo, you were with Mikey Brummett, and you need to tell me what the hell happened. Taboo came over, Devin began, his voice shaking visibly. And he said that, hey, I need you to go with me and Mikey. We're going to go talk to this old guy. He say his name? Kennedy asked. No, he didn't, Devin recalled. He said that there's some things that needed to be addressed. Like what? Enticing girls over, supposedly drugging them, Devin stammered. So I went in and it started out like we were just standing there just talking. And then Taboo, like real aggressive, goes right up into his face and just like that. And it's just like asking him this and that, and barely would let the dude even give an answer. And he just, bam, hit him. And I am just like, what are you doing? I am like, I thought you were just coming to speak with him, like what's going on? And Taboo was like, you just stay the fuck out of it. They just like jumped him. He stated that Tad and Mikey beat Steve relentlessly until he collapsed onto the garage floor. At this point, I am wanting to leave, Devin continued, trembling. I am just like, this doesn't feel right. This dude was like I thought he had enough. And I am telling Taboo, like, dude, leave him alone. Like, it's scary. Like, leave him alone. Something else happened, Kennedy pressed softly. Yeah, what happened? I see Mikey over here. Taboo's walking back, Devin described. Walking towards you? Yeah, he just took a couple steps towards me to leave, and then Mikey went. With a pistol, Devin gestured. It was a handgun? Kennedy verified. And when I heard the one shot, I take off running. Devin gasped. Let me ask you this, Kennedy interrupted. You cut your hand, didn't you? If you did something, tell me now. Did you stab this guy? Like 2 times, maybe, Devin confessed, staring at his bandaged hand. He came at me. The guy was getting beat up. How did he come at you? Kennedy asked skeptically. He lunged up out of the chair to take off, Devin claimed. But as far as it goes, I did more damage to my hand than I did to that dude. But do you think you had other options? Kennedy questioned gently. You think you could have walked away and not have been a part of this? And then after it did happen and you were there, that you should have probably called the police and told them what happened? I was too scared to, Devin sobbed, burying his face in his hands. Am I being arrested? I am not going to lie to you, okay? Kennedy said compassionately, yet firmly. You are going to be arrested for first-degree murder. I need you, please. I do, Devin pleaded, breaking down into heavy weeping. This is a bad deal, man, Kennedy noted softly. I didn't do any of it, Devin cried. But you were a part of this, Kennedy reminded him. I swear to you, Devin gasped. I want you to hang loose for a minute. We're going to go talk, okay? Kennedy said, stepping out into the hall with Ward. We need to get warrants, Kennedy stated. We will go pick up Tad, because we are going to arrest him too. The witness that we talked to gave us a location where he was at. The other person involved in this is Mikey Brummett. Mikey Brummett is in Department of Corrections custody right now on a gun charge. He has got 5 years, so he is not going anywhere anytime soon. We are making headway on something that is 5 months old. We have come a long way. 2 days later, tactical officers tracked Tad Kleiner to an RV park on 8th Street, executing an arrest warrant and escorting him to homicide headquarters. Kennedy walked into the room, sitting across from Tad. All right, Tad, I am Detective Kennedy. I am a homicide detective with the Tulsa Police Department, okay? Okay, Tad answered, folding his arms aggressively. Last Thursday, we were called to South 54th West Avenue in reference to some skeletal remains that were found, Kennedy explained, and those have been identified now to be Steve Wilkins. He was murdered, okay? Long story short, your name has been thrown into this, that you were there the night that Steve was killed. No, the Dened flatly. Well, here's the thing, Tad, Kennedy countered. I have already talked to Devin. Devin put you there. I did not, Tad barked. I didn't murder nobody.
But you weren't on it, Kennedy pressed.
No, I was not. That's not bad. And maybe I don't know what your involvement is, Kennedy noted. You are fucking high, bro. Tad scoffed. Well, you are being arrested for first-degree murder, Kennedy stated calmly. I don't know why, Tad yelled. If you want to sit here and tell me what happened, because I know you were there, Kennedy offered. I know you were there with Mikey Brummett. No, I was not. I know you were there with Devin Scrivener, Kennedy continued. I think you went over there with the intentions to scare this guy and to rough him up a little bit because he maybe did something to your ex-girlfriend. I didn't go over there, Dad insisted. You were there and you were beating him, okay? I know that, Kennedy asserted. No, I wasn't. I never beat that man. I never had to, Tad claimed. That is all right. If you kicked him, why would he be scared of you? Kennedy questioned. Okay, well, why does that make him scared of you? So, what made you weird? I don't hang out with people like that, Tad claimed, and naturally I scared them off. So you said he was scared of you, Kennedy picked up on the admission. Did you go over and talk to him and warn him to stay away? Yes, Tad admitted. Yeah, me and Steve, before I heard all this shit, we were
friends.
I mean, I got along with the guy. But then you heard this stuff about what he was doing, Kennedy probed. No, Tad shook his head. He got weird, like poetry weird. Like, I don't.
No.
A guy don't write another guy poetry where I come from. You know what I mean? And I had to check him a few times. I ain't going to lie to you, I did. And I never had to put my hands on him. So, what happened when you went over there and talked to him about the situation?
Kennedy asked.
If it got out of hand and somebody did something that you didn't mean for it to happen, now is your chance to tell me. I went over there and I told him if he put hands on the girls again, I was going to beat his ass out of town, Tad declared vehemently.
Right.
And that is the night of the fire? Kennedy verified. No, I don't know about no fire, Tad claimed. Man, I don't know what to do for you, Kennedy sighed, leaning back. I have laid it all out there. I mean, hell, you basically admitted that you have been over there and you threatened to beat his ass. Yeah, tad muttered. And his ass did get beat, and he did get killed, and the structure got burned down, Kennedy pointed out. I didn't kill nobody, Tad insisted. I made my point and he tried to deny the fact that he was touching girls. Okay, he pissed you off? Kennedy asked. Okay, well, here's the deal, Kennedy concluded. You're going to be booked into Tulsa County Jail for first-degree murder. What the fuck, man? Tad shouted, slamming his fist on the table. Yeah, Kennedy nodded soberly. That sounds so bad, Tad yelled. It is bad, Kennedy responded. It doesn't get much worse. I did not kill him, okay? For real, Tad pleaded. I know you were there the night he was killed, Kennedy said softly. No, I was not, Tad denied once more. Okay, Kennedy stood up. I think we are done. Kennedy stepped into the hallway to debrief with Ward. I mean, he does admit he went over there, Kennedy analyzed.
He wouldn't say.
But he said some time ago and tried to kick his ass. But he won't go down the road of I was there the night with Mikey Brummett and Devin Scrivener, which we have heard from several people that he was. So he is going down for first-degree murder, also. And then Mikey Brummett, our probable shooter, is now in Department of Corrections facility in Lexington, Oklahoma. So what I will end up doing on him is getting an arrest affidavit. Michael Brummett Jr. will also be charged with first-degree murder. He was arrested with a 9mm handgun, so we're going to do a direct comparison to see if that casing from the crime scene is going to be found in the same weapon. Kennedy paused, reflecting on the underlying motive of the violent attack. I think that this might be a case of them doing some vigilante stuff, Kennedy observed thoughtfully. Supposedly, Tad's girlfriend is going to be who this whole thing might be over. That sounds like they had an opinion that our victim, Steve Wilkins, may have done something to her that made Tad mad. We at least need to talk to her. After a brief search across the neighborhood, investigators located Tad's ex-girlfriend, who agreed to come to headquarters to clarify the matter. Kennedy walked into the conference room. Hi, my name is Detective Mark Kennedy, he introduced himself. I got called to an address at South 54th West Avenue. There were some skeletal remains found back there. We have since identified those remains to belong to a guy by the name of Steve Wilkins. So, through the process of this whole investigation, your name was brought up, and in fact that you knew a guy who went by the name of Taboo, Tad Kleiner. From everything I have gotten so far from everybody, the reason why this guy was killed was for the fact that he supposedly did something to you. The young woman stared at Kennedy in utter bewilderment. I am not sure who this gentleman is, the Steve guy, she stated clearly. Do you recognize this guy? Kennedy held up a photograph of Steve Wilkins. Okay. I have never seen that man before, she replied firmly. This is going back 5 months ago, okay? Kennedy pressed gently. Were you ever sexually assaulted? Were you ever harassed? Were you ever drugged or anything like that by anybody? No, she declared emphatically. Well, why would people be telling us this? Kennedy asked. I think, sir, I don't know, she explained with a weary sigh. Everybody also said I had AIDS. that was going around the west side. So, I mean, if I knew, I would help you. So this theory that everybody is telling me about is totally bogus?
Kennedy.
Verified softly. I mean, I don't know where they got that story, but I have never seen that man before, she stated unequivocally. Fair enough. Well, I guess we are done here, Kennedy concluded, standing up.
All right.
Have a good day. You too, she nodded, leaving the room. Kennedy walked back to his desk, looking over the case file with a profound sense of sadness and righteous resolution. She has no knowledge of what we are talking about, Kennedy reflected to Ward. And she wasn't a victim in anything, and she knows nothing about it. Nobody else has come forward and said anything like this has happened at Steve's hands.
No.
Reports have been filed where he is a suspect, so I think it is just a case of bad rumors going around the neighborhood. They thought they were giving him some street justice, but for them to beat him to death and shoot him and, and then burn him is not their right to do that. That is a sad deal, and it was very, very avoidable. Take care of yourself, man. You too, Ward agreed.
Take care.
See you later. The heavy afternoon sun hung over the western outskirts of Tulsa, casting long, dusty shadows across South 54th Street near West Goldman.
It was the
kind of quiet residential strip where neighbors generally kept to themselves, where the rustle of overgrown weeds and the low hum of distant traffic formed the background music of everyday life. But on this particular late afternoon, the quiet was shattered by a discovery that would draw the dark, meticulous lens of a homicide investigation directly onto a forgotten corner of a backyard. A local resident had ventured onto the property behind a fire-damaged structure, searching for something as mundane as a lost cat collar. The garage on the lot had succumbed to a raging blaze 5 months earlier, back in September, leaving behind a charred skeleton of timber, melted plastic, and heaps of fire-blackened
debris.
As the neighbor moved through the tall weeds and tangled rubble, her eyes caught something pale and unsettling wedged beneath the collapsed overhang of the structure. It was not a collar. It was the unmistakable curve of human
bone.
When the emergency operator at 911 answered the call, the voice on the other end was trembling. The caller explained that she had received permission to look for her pet's missing collar in the guy's backyard, only to find what appeared to be human remains. Patrol officers were dispatched immediately to South 54th and West Goldman. Upon arrival, the responding officers carefully navigated the perimeter of the burnt shed. 5 months had passed since the Tulsa Fire Department had fought the inferno that consumed the detached garage. At the time, the interior was so tightly packed with discarded items, furniture, and household trash that firefighters extinguishing the blaze had no way of knowing what lay hidden beneath the suffocating layers of ash and soot. One officer leaned over the scorched beam, peering into the dim hollow beneath the wreckage. He exchanged a grim look with his partner. There was no mistaking the contours of a human jawbone protruding from the earth. The scene was secured instantly. A yellow plastic ribbon was drawn across the perimeter, sealing off the area, and the homicide unit was called out to respond. In homicide investigation, time is a relentless enemy. Detectives know well the unwritten law of their craft. If a viable lead is not uncovered within the initial 48 hours, the chances of solving the murder drop by half. As the detectives arrived at the scene, the air was thick with the acrid smell of old soot and damp earth. Detective Mark Kennedy, Detective Ward, and crime scene. Detective Ross Hall met at the edge of the property to take stock of the situation. They stood near the blackened remnants of the garage, looking down at the tangled puzzle. Forensic anthropologist Dr. Angela Berg was summoned to examine the site. Dr. Berg crouched low near the structural beam, adjusting her light to peer deep under the frame where the remains lay wedged. Dr. Berg observed the orientation of the skeleton. The legs extended outward, while the cranium was tucked deeply beneath a structural support cradled in a manner that suggested either an intentional placement or a violent compression. As she brushed away the light dust, her trained eye noticed significant structural trauma to the cranium. There were distinct fractures. It appeared consistent with severe blunt force impact, or perhaps the entry mark of a projectile, along with thermal fracturing caused by the intense heat of the blaze 5 months prior. Chunks of the cranial vault were missing, burned away during the fire. The sheer density of the debris inside the garage at the time of the fire explained why first responders had missed the body months ago. The garage had been jam-packed with refuse. The fire had burned hot and fast over the top, capping the scene in carbonized trash and architectural collapse. Dr. Berg noted that the positioning of the body was highly unnatural. However, due to the skeletal state and the darkness fast approaching a full excavation and determination of age, sex, or precise anatomical cause of death would have to wait until daylight, when proper screening and sifting equipment could be deployed. Meanwhile, detectives focused on the human element surrounding the property. Property records revealed the name of the homeowner, and patrol officers acquired a telephone number. The neighbor who had called 911 explained that when she approached the house earlier to ask permission to enter the yard, the homeowner was walking out toward his car. He had granted her permission to check the backyard for the cat collar, instructed her to latch the gate behind her, and then immediately driven away. Detective Ross Hall placed a phone call to the homeowner, requesting that he return to the scene to answer a few basic questions. The homeowner demurred, claiming he could not return because he was out of town or even out of the state. Yet, the neighbor was positive it was the very same man she had spoken to in person just minutes before discovering the body. Detective Kennedy and Detective Ward stepped over to speak with the neighbor, again to confirm her account. She reiterated that she and her sister had walked up to the house, met the owner at his front walkway as he was leaving, and received his nod to go around back. She confirmed his identity from a photograph. She noted that he had lived on the block as long as she could remember, keeping entirely to himself, maintaining a quiet existence without any history of loud arguments or gunshots coming from his lot. The detectives pondered the strange behavior of the property owner. A skeleton rested in his backyard beneath a burned-out roof, and rather than returning to cooperate with law enforcement, he had offered an obvious falsehood about being out of state. Returning to the homicide office, Detective Kennedy decided to call the homeowner directly. When the man answered, Kennedy introduced himself calmly, explaining that police needed to speak with him regarding an ongoing investigation at his address. The owner responded with hesitation, asking what the problem was and why officers were at his residence. Kennedy informed him that human remains had been discovered in his backyard. There was a pause on the line. The homeowner then asked if there was any chance the body belonged to a man named Steve Wilkins. He claimed that Steve had been living in the garage apartment when it caught fire in September, and that he had not seen Steve ever since that night. Kennedy urged the owner to come down to the detective division so they could discuss Steve Wilkins in detail. The owner declined, stating he felt uncomfortable coming to the station, remarking that it felt like giving the police a home field advantage. He requested that Kennedy text him an address, instead maintaining a remarkably detachment given the gravity of the news. After hanging up the phone, Kennedy and his team reflected on the interaction. The owner's evasiveness was striking. While being evasive was not a crime in itself, his immediate mention of Steve Wilkins provided detectives with their first vital name. A check of regional databases yielded no formal missing persons report filed for 55-year-old Stephen Wilkins. Further background research revealed that Steve Wilkins was born in California and had traveled extensively during his youth, living in Oklahoma, Georgia, and Germany while his father served in the military. He had settled in Tulsa over 20 years ago, earning his living as a baker and donating his time to volunteer with neighbors along the line, a local community support group. Relatives described him as a soft-spoken father of four who enjoyed reading and writing poetry. 3 years prior, after his family moved out, financial hardship forced Steve to give up his home across the street, at which point the property owner allowed him to stay in the detached garage. The following morning, daylight illuminated the crime scene. Dr. Angela Berg and her forensic team began the tedious task of sifting through the ash and debris beneath the garage framing. Within hours, their meticulous screening yielded a critical piece of physical evidence, a corroded 9mm shell casing buried deep in the dirt layer beneath the remains. Furthermore, Dr. Berg's detailed examination of the cranium revealed a clear gunshot entry wound located at the base of the skull. What had initially appeared as an ambiguous fire tragedy was now undeniably an execution-style murder. The primary objective shifted to establishing a definitive legal identification of the remains and constructing a timeline of Steve Wilkins' final hours. The preliminary interview with the property owner took place shortly after 3 hours into the formal investigation. He walked into the interview room, maintaining a passive demeanor. Under questioning, he recalled the events of September 14th, stating that neighbors had pounded on his door around 4:00 in the morning to alert him that the garage was ablaze. He claimed he had no knowledge of Steve's whereabouts at that moment and simply assumed Steve had fled the fire. Detective Kennedy pressed him on the last time he had seen Steve alive. The owner stated he had spoken with Steve around 6:00 in the evening on the night before the fire. He added an intriguing detail earlier that afternoon. Around 4:00, 2 white males had visited Steve at the garage, and Steve had subtly indicated that the visitors were unhappy with him. Kennedy questioned why the owner had never reported this detail to arson investigators or the police during the initial fire response 5 months ago. The owner shrugged, claiming he merely assumed whoever started the fire had frightened Steve into running away. Kennedy pointed out the absurdity of assuming a longtime tenant and friend would vanish into thin air without leaving a trace or a phone call, especially if his living space had been incinerated. The owner maintained he had no personal involvement in Steve's death. He was allowed to leave, though his property remained cordoned off as a crime scene. Shortly after noon, Patrol Officer Darren Shipley contacted the homicide unit. He had encountered a female resident from the West Side who claimed to possess direct street knowledge regarding the incident. Though suffering from a mild fever, she was eager to speak to detectives away from the neighborhood. Detective Kennedy met her in an interview room. She wasted no time in introducing names that were well known to local patrol officers. She spoke of a 36-year-old local man named Tad Kleiner, known on the streets by the moniker Taboo. According to her, days leading up to the September fire, a rumor had circulated across the West Side alleging that Steve Wilkins had somehow drugged Tad's ex-girlfriend. She explained that Tad Kleiner became infuriated by the rumor. On the night of the fire, Tad, accompanied by 39-year-old Mikey Brummett Jr. and a third, younger man, went over to the garage to intimidate and assault Steve. She recounted how Tad had later bragged open-mouthed about the incident, explicitly stating that they had brutally curb-stomped Steve inside the garage. She added that Mikey Brummett was brought in to clean up the violent mess, utilizing bleach to scrub away blood before setting the garage on fire to destroy all physical evidence. The rumor mill had claimed that the group bought Steve a ticket to leave town, but the witness expressed deep skepticism that Steve had ever left that yard alive. She further identified her boyfriend, who was currently incarcerated in the county jail on unrelated charges, as someone who was present when Tad boasted about the attack. This statement provided a sudden, dramatic breakthrough. Detectives pulled the records for the individuals named. 36-year-old Tad Kleiner possessed a lengthy criminal history on the West Side, including convictions for drug possession, illegal firearm possession, and resisting arrest. 39-year-old Michael Brummett Jr. had a similar record involving burglary and narcotics. Crucially, records showed that 4 months after the Fire, Mikey Brummett had been arrested while in possession of 2 handguns, one of which was a 9mm pistol. He was currently serving a 5-year sentence in the custody of the Department of Corrections. Detective Watkins immediately coordinated with jail staff to bring the witnesses' incarcerated boyfriend to the homicide division for an interview. When seated in the room, the boyfriend confirmed the story. He stated that Tad and Mikey had gone over to handle Steve over the rumor. He described how the men returned, boasting of the assault, mentioning that a younger accomplice named Devin had ended up with a severe cut on his hand during the struggle. Using social media accounts provided by the witness, detectives identified the third individual as 26-year-old Devin Scrivener, a resident of Sperry, Oklahoma, with no prior criminal convictions. The boyfriend also noted that Mikey Brummett had openly talked about having to fix Taboo's rookie mistake by setting the structure ablaze. While detectives were synthesizing this flood of information, Dr. Angela Berg from the medical examiner's office called Detective Kennedy. By comparing ante-mortem radiological records obtained from a local hospital with the recovered skeletal remains, the medical examiner's office achieved a positive, absolute identification. The deceased was indeed Stephen Wilkins, with a formal homicide confirmation and 3 primary suspects identified. Kennedy and Ward turned their attention to locating 26-year-old Devin Scrivener, whom they viewed as the potential weak link in the conspiracy. They drove to an address on the west side associated with Devin's girlfriend. Outside the residence, a male acquaintance claimed he had not seen Devin in weeks. However, he noted that Devin and his girlfriend had recently been driving around the neighborhood in a cream-colored luxury sports utility vehicle, specifically an Escalade. Detectives spent the remainder of the evening scouring the streets of the west side, peering down alleys and parking lots, but the vehicle proved elusive as the initial 48 hours drew to a close. 2 days later, relentless surveillance paid off. Investigators spotted the cream-colored vehicle outside the same girlfriend's residence and moved in, taking Devin Scrivener into custody without incident. In the interview room, Detective Kennedy laid out the facts plainly to the young man. He informed Devin that the remains of Steve Wilkins had been recovered, that the physical evidence disproved any cover story, and that multiple sources had detailed his presence in the garage on the night of September 14th. Devin broke down. He insisted that he had only accompanied Tad Kleiner and Mikey Brummett because Tad claimed they were merely going to talk to an older man regarding allegations of misconduct toward local women. Devin described walking into the clutter-filled garage, where Tad immediately confronted Steve in an aggressive, towering manner, shouting over Steve's attempts to speak before suddenly striking him in the face. Devin recounted how Tad and Mikey began ruthlessly beating Steve until the older man collapsed to the ground. Panicked by the unexpected ferocity of the assault, Devin claimed he urged Tad to stop during the chaos as Steve tried desperately to get up or defend himself. Devin pulled a knife and stabbed Steve twice, accidentally cutting his own hand deep across the palm in the process. According to Devin, As he backed away in horror, Tad stepped toward the garage. Exit. At that moment, Mikey Brummett produced a handgun and fired a single shot directly into the back of Steve's head. Hearing the gunshot, Devin turned and fled into the night. Mikey remained behind to sanitize the scene with chemicals and ignite the dense refuse inside the garage. Devin admitted that fear of retribution had kept him from coming forward to law enforcement. Detective Kennedy informed him that despite his claims of reluctance, his active participation in the armed assault and stabbing rendered him legally responsible. Devin Scrivener was placed under arrest and booked for first-degree murder. Armed with Devin's detailed confession, arrest warrants were issued for Tad Kleiner. The tactical team located Tad at a residence on 8th Street and brought him into headquarters. When Detective Kennedy confronted 36-year-old Tad Kleiner with the murder charge, Tad adopted an attitude of complete denial. He admitted knowing Steve Wilkins and even acknowledged that he held a deep grievance against him over rumors concerning female acquaintances. Tad openly confessed that he had personally gone to the garage on prior occasions to check Steve, threatening to beat him out of town if he ever approached local women. However, Tad vehemently denied being present on the night of the fire or participating in his execution. Kennedy pointed out the overwhelming absurdity of Tad's position. He admitted to harboring the specific motive, making the specific physical threats, and confronting the victim, yet expected investigators to believe it was mere coincidence that his close associates executed the very act he had threatened in the exact manner described by eyewitnesses. Tad Kleiner was booked into the Tulsa County Jail on a charge of first-degree murder. Concurrently, formal murder charges were prepared against 39-year-old Michael Brummett Jr., who remained incarcerated in state custody. The 9mm pistol recovered from Brummett during his subsequent arrest was submitted to the ballistics laboratory for direct comparison against the corroded casing sifted from the ash beneath Steve Wilkins' remains. To bring total clarity to the supposed motive, Detective Kennedy tracked down Tad Kleiner's ex-girlfriend, the woman whose alleged mistreatment had served as the entire justification for the gang's vigilante assault. She sat down with Kennedy at the homicide division. When presented with a photograph of Stephen Wilkins, she stared at the image with complete blankness. She stated unequivocally that she had never met the man in her life, had never been to his garage, and had never been drugged, harassed, or assaulted by him or anyone matching his description. She explained that toxic, baseless rumors were constantly manufactured and circulated across the neighborhood streets, often taking on a life of their own among volatile individuals looking for a pretext for violence. The revelation was chilling in its senselessness. Stephen Wilkins, a quiet, 55-year-old lover of poetry and former community volunteer, had been brutally beaten, stabbed, shot, and burned all over a piece of fabricated street gossip that had no anchor in reality. The tireless work of the homicide unit had stripped away 5 months of ash, deception, and urban myth, bringing 3 perpetrators to justice and restoring truth to a forgotten life. In the coastal city of North Charleston, South Carolina, the late-night hours were shattered by a frantic call to 911 from an apartment complex at 6 Rolling Fork Road. A terrified resident reported that an unknown man was outside, frantically pounding on doors and windows, covered in blood, screaming for help. Patrol units rushed to the scene. An officer dispatched to the courtyard located. A young man collapsed beneath a concrete stairwell on the first floor. The victim was bleeding profusely from a gaping wound to his inner upper thigh, his pulse rapidly fading as officers attempted emergency aid. Despite the immediate arrival of medical personnel, the young man succumbed to his injuries on the scene. Lead Detective Reams and Detective Sanders arrived shortly after midnight to take charge of the investigation. The crime scene revealed a grim trail of physical evidence. A heavy line of blood originated near a row of industrial dumpsters in the parking lot, trailed along a metal guardrail, and ended at the stairwell where the victim had collapsed. Near the guardrail, officers recovered a fully loaded 9mm firearm magazine, resting in a pool of blood. However, no firearm was found anywhere in the vicinity. A search of the immediate area yielded a locked mobile phone lying in the grass. Along the blood trail, presumably belonging to the victim, forensic examiners noted that the victim had suffered a single, devastating gunshot entry wound to the inner left thigh, a trajectory that had severed the femoral artery, causing catastrophic blood loss within minutes. Neighbors interviewed at the scene reported hearing no gunshots whatsoever. This led detectives to hypothesize that the shooting likely occurred inside an enclosed space, such as a motor vehicle parked in the lot, after which the wounded man staggered out, dropping his magazine and phone as he tried desperately to find help. Through fingerprint analysis conducted by the coroner's office, the victim was positively identified as 21-year-old Aurelius Siren Nelson Jr., known affectionately to his family and friends as C. A native of James Island, C was the father of a young son. Detectives immediately sought video surveillance from the complex. A residence doorbell camera provided crucial early footage at approximately 1:16 in the morning. C was captured staggering onto the porch, clutching his leg, with no visible pursuers behind him. To determine what vehicle might have been involved, Detective Reams requested access to a city-managed security camera mounted on a utility pole near the complex's sole entrance and exit. A careful review of the timeline revealed a compelling detail. At 1:11 in the morning, exactly 5 minutes before C appeared on the porch, a light-colored sedan, appearing to be a white or silver Infiniti G37, drove out of the complex at a high rate of speed, turning eastbound onto Rivers Avenue. While detectives were processing the scene, C's girlfriend arrived after hearing tragic rumors from family members. She told Detective Reams that she and C had been staying at a hotel a mile away. Around 1 o'clock that morning, C had quietly dressed and left the room on foot without explaining where he was going or who he was meeting. As the morning progressed, a strange parallel event occurred nearby. A patrol sergeant conducted a traffic stop on a Toyota RAV4 after observing suspicious behavior. When the vehicle pulled over, 2 male passengers bolted from the car and vanished into the surrounding woods. Inside the vehicle, officers found a male driver with a jacket pulled over his head, visibly shaken, and bleeding from facial injuries. The interior of the vehicle was splattered with blood. Brought in for questioning, the driver revealed a wild story. He claimed he had been kidnapped and beaten by 2 of C's close friends who were seeking immediate street retribution for C's death. The driver explained that on the night of the shooting, C had come by his residence near Rolling Fork Road and explicitly stated he was setting up a robbery, commonly referred to as a lick, targeting a known local drug supplier who drove a white Infiniti. The driver stated that after the shooting, C's friends believed he had aided in setting C up, so they abducted him at gunpoint and forced him to call the drug dealer's phone number. The dealer had answered, hung up, and refused further contact. This testimony provided a major breakthrough. It suggested that C. Nelson had not been an innocent bystander, but had entered the white Infiniti with the intention of robbing the occupant at gunpoint. Detectives quickly identified the owner of the white Infiniti G37 mentioned by the witness. A cross-check of telephone records obtained from C's dumped cell phone revealed intensive, rapid-fire text messaging between C and the suspect during the 30 minutes leading up to 1 o'clock in the morning. The messages arranged a precise meeting location in the complex parking lot. Using license plate recognition cameras deployed across the city, officers monitored key intersections. Hours later, an automated alert flagged the suspect's white Infiniti traveling along a main thoroughfare. Patrol units executed a high-risk traffic stop, detaining the driver and towing the vehicle directly to the police department's forensic warehouse. The driver was brought to an interview room at City Hall by Detective Sanders. At the same time, forensic investigators prepared a search warrant for the Infiniti. When investigators sprayed the interior of the white Infiniti with Blue Star chemical reagent, the front passenger seat lit up with vivid luminescence. Despite a thorough attempt by the driver to scrub and sanitize the leather surfaces, blood had seeped deep into the foam padding beneath the seat covers. Furthermore, inspectors discovered a bullet strike mark near the lower driver's side door frame. Confronted with the overwhelming scientific proof that a shooting and massive blood loss had occurred inside his vehicle, the suspect waved his rights and agreed to give a full statement to Detective Sanders. His account provided a dramatic explanation of the night's events. He stated that C. Nelson had messaged him requesting a meeting to purchase narcotics. C. entered the passenger side of the Infiniti, gave brief directions, and then suddenly pulled a handgun, exclaiming that it was a robbery. The driver explained that he panicked, refusing to put the car in park while fighting C for control of the weapon with one hand while trying to steer with the other. As they wrestled violently across the center console, the firearm discharged twice inside the confined cabin. The driver recounted that C instantly dropped the weapon, crying out that he had accidentally shot himself in the leg. As the car rolled to a stop, C managed to open the passenger door and stumble out into the darkness, carrying the gun with him before collapsing nearby. Panicked, terrified of law enforcement, and aware of his own criminal record, the driver sped away, threw away items, and spent the early morning hours frantically scrubbing the blood from his passenger seat. Detectives meticulously analyzed the physical evidence against the driver's confession, the trajectory of the single-entry wound to C's inner thigh, the severe downward angle, the bullet mark in the lower door frame, the fully loaded magazine dropped near the car's exit path, and the corroborating statements regarding C's intent to commit a robbery all aligned perfectly with the driver's account. It was a classic struggle over a weapon during an attempted armed robbery, resulting in a self-inflicted, fatal gunshot wound to the perpetrator. While the physical evidence exonerated the driver of murder, his actions following the incident, sanitizing a scene of catastrophic injury, failing to render aid or call 911, and actively concealing evidence, constituted serious criminal acts. The murder charge was formally dropped, and the suspect was booked into jail on charges of misprision of a felony and tampering with evidence. It was a stark, sobering resolution. A young father had lost his life in a foolish, split-second decision to commit a violent robbery, and another young man faced felony prosecution for choosing panic and concealment over truth. In the wooded suburb of Cartersville, Georgia, located within Gwinnett County, the tranquility of a community park was shattered in the early morning hours by the sharp crack of rapid gunfire. A panicked teenager named Kayla called 911 from a parked sedan near the park's picnic pavilion. She stammered to the operator that she had been asleep in the back seat when she was awakened by a sudden volley of gunshots. She reported that her boyfriend and his best friend had stepped out of the vehicle moments earlier to meet someone and were now lying motionless on the ground near a picnic table. Gwinnett County police officers arrived at the scene alongside emergency medical personnel. They discovered two young males deceased beside a wooden picnic bench. Lead Detective Pearson and Detective Arina took command of the scene. The victims were quickly identified. 19-year-old Aiden Reynolds was an aspiring musician and delivery driver who lived locally with his family. Seated beside him was his 17-year-old best friend, John Pendrick, an oil technician who loved skateboarding and outdoor sports. The physical evidence pointed to a relentless execution. CSI technicians recovered 13 9mm shell casings clustered closely around the picnic table, indicating a single shooter firing rapidly from a short distance. An examination of the bodies revealed that John Pendrick had been struck 4 times in the arm, chest, back, and torso, falling backward onto the table bench. Tucked uselessly into John's waistband, officers discovered a realistic-looking plastic airsoft gun. Aiden Reynolds had been shot 5 times, receiving fatal strikes to the chest, arm, and back as he attempted to run away. A backpack that John had been carrying prior to the shooting was missing from the scene. Kayla, visibly traumatized, was interviewed in a patrol vehicle. She explained that Aiden had received a message on Instagram from an unknown individual seeking to purchase $400 worth of marijuana. Aiden had recruited John to join him, and the group drove to the park, a location chosen specifically by the prospective buyer. Kayla stated that she dozed off in the car while the 2 boys walked to the illuminated picnic table. She woke up to the sound of continuous gunfire and caught a brief glimpse of 2 figures dressed in dark clothing fleeing into the surrounding woods. While processing the perimeter, a police canine team picked up a fresh scent, leading from the picnic area, through a wooded trail, and up to the rear property line of a yellow house located on Norris Lane. The dog alerted at the back gate, but the perimeter tracking ended there. Officers knocked on the door of the residence, but observed lights being turned off inside as occupants refused to answer. Without sufficient probable cause at that moment, officers maintained surveillance on the house. Detectives obtained security footage from a residential camera mounted on a neighboring home overlooking the park's side parking lot. Although motion activated and somewhat grainy, the footage provided a precise timeline. At 12 o'clock and 4 minutes in the morning, Aiden's car was seen pulling into the lot. At 12 o'clock and 25 minutes, Aiden and John were captured walking toward the picnic table, with John carrying the black backpack. Moments later, a shadowy figure emerged from the perimeter tree line, matching the exact time the buyer claimed to be arriving. Forensic technicians worked tirelessly to bypass the security lock on Aiden's damaged cell phone. When they successfully extracted the data, they uncovered the crucial Instagram exchange between Aiden and an account bearing the handle PopShops_. The messages revealed that PopShops_EJ had negotiated the purchase of 56 grams of marijuana for $400, explicitly instructing Aiden to meet him at the park at sunset. At 12 o'clock and 25 minutes in the morning, PopShops_EJ sent a single-word message. Here. That was the exact minute the security camera recorded the figure approaching the victims. Shortly after the shooting, the PopShops_EJ Instagram profile was permanently deleted. Detective Pearson began canvassing local youths on the neighborhood streets, showing them an archived profile photograph of PopShops_EJ recovered from Aiden's phone cache. A young local resident recognized the face immediately, identifying the individual as a 16-year-old named Laquan Dempsey, known locally as EJ, who attended an alternative educational facility known as the Give School. Crucially, the witness revealed that when Laquan stayed in the neighborhood, he frequented the very same yellow house on Norris Lane where the canine track had terminated on the night of the murder. Armed with this critical identification, Detective Pearson contacted the school resource officer at the Give School, who confirmed that 16-year-old Laquan Dempsey was registered under that nickname and associated with the Norris Lane address. Detectives executed a search warrant at the Yellow House on Norris Lane. While searching the premises for the missing backpack and a 9mm firearm, Pearson interviewed a female relative living at the home. She dropped a vital piece of background information. In late June, 2 months prior to the shooting, Laquan had been robbed of a quantity of marijuana by a young white male, an incident that had left Laquan furious and seeking street payback. Recognizing that the investigative net was closing, Laquan Dempsey's grandmother brought the 16-year-old into Gwinnett County Police Headquarters to speak with Detective Pearson. In the interview room, Laquan adopted a carefully rehearsed defense. He admitted that the popshops_EJ Instagram account belonged to him, but claimed he was not the person who used it on the night of the murder. Laquan alleged that 2 days prior to the incident, an older, aggressive acquaintance involved in local gang activity had forcibly taken his cell phone, coercing him into an elaborate gang initiation scheme. Laquan claimed this older acquaintance used his phone and Instagram account to set up the robbery of Aiden and John. He insisted he remained at the Yellow House on Norris Lane while the acquaintance and another youth went down to the park, executed the double murder, stole the backpack, and returned to boast about the crime. Detective Pearson listened patiently, maintaining an empathetic demeanor while allowing Laquan to commit fully to his narrative. Pearson then pulled out the newly returned call detail records and cell tower location data for Laquan's mobile device. The scientific evidence completely demolished Laquan's story. The records showed that at 11:30 on the morning following the murder, a time when Laquan claimed his phone was still in the possession of the older gang member, a series of outgoing phone calls were made from the device directly to Laquan's grandmother. Furthermore, granular GPS coordinates placed the phone moving precisely between the Yellow House and the park during the exact window of the shooting. Laquan's attempt to shift blame onto an anonymous gang member was exposed as a complete fabrication. He was the person holding the phone, he was the person operating the Instagram account, and he was the individual who lured Aiden Reynolds and John Pendrick into the dark park under the guise of a drug transaction, only to ambush them with a hail of 9mm gunfire. Following the interview, Laquan Dempsey's mother retained legal representation, and formal arrest warrants were issued charging 16-year-old Laquan Dempsey as an adult with 2 counts of felony murder, aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. 3 years after that tragic night, the mothers of Aiden Reynolds and John Pendrick gathered together to remember their sons, bound by a shared grief that time could never fully erase. They spoke of the vibrant, hopeful young men who had been taken so senselessly over a foolish robbery scheme. Through rigorous, logical analysis, tireless physical evidence gathering, and compassionate police work, the investigators across all 3 cases had brought clarity to darkness. They confronted the cowardice, deceit, and foolish choices of perpetrators with unyielding truth, honoring the memory of the victims and ensuring that justice was served. Part 1. The Echoes of Rolling Fork Road. Chapter 1. Midnight on the First Floor. The persistent ring of an emergency dispatch line breaks the nocturnal calm of North Charleston, South Carolina. It is an ungodly hour, the quiet space before dawn when the world is usually asleep, but for the telecommunicators on duty, time is measured only by the urgency of human crises. The operator answers with practiced professionalism. 911. What is the address of the emergency? The voice on the other end is breathless, tremulous with sudden terror. 6. Rolling Fork Road. Okay, tell me exactly what happened, the operator instructs, modulating her tone to bring order to the caller's panic. Yes, the caller stammers, words tumbling out. Somebody is outside banging on my windows and my doors, screaming for help. All right, an officer will get this back as soon as possible, the operator assures her, instantly routing the call through the digital arteries of the city's emergency network. Out on the pavement, a patrol unit responds to the call, the radio crackling into life as the officer acknowledges the transmission. 342 dispatch. I am eating in this here now. I have got a robbery, Mike. Down. There is a lot of blood everywhere. A second officer arrives, finding a young man collapsed near the base of an outdoor stairwell. He kneels beside the figure, checking vital signs while reporting back to control. Gunshot in his leg, in the upper thigh. Pulse is fading. Still breathing. Despite the swift arrival of paramedics, the young man's life slips away on the cold concrete. The call transitions from a rescue operation to a homicide investigation. 4 homicide detectives, the cold reality of their profession is dictated by a stark statistic. Their chance of solving a murder is cut in half if they do not secure a viable lead within the first 48 hours. The clock begins, ticking the moment the victim takes his final breath. Detective Reams receives the call at home. Woken from a deep sleep, he gathers his gear and drives through the quiet streets to Wheat Hill Place, an apartment complex off Rolling Fork Road. Upon arrival, he meets Detective Sanders and the crime scene squad. The area beneath the first floor stairwell is cordoned off with yellow tape. Underneath the shadow of the stairs lies the victim. Hey, I was asleep when I got the call, Reams remarks, stepping under the perimeter line to join Sanders. We have got the deceased victim that is up underneath the stairwell here on the first floor, Sanders explains, gesturing toward the body. We do not have an identification on him right now. He does have some tattoos. It looked like gang-affiliated tattoos, Reams observes, crouching down for a closer look. We will have to fingerprint him. The preliminary visual assessment by the medical examiner team reveals a clear point of trauma. What we are seeing right now is 1 gunshot entry in on the left leg at the inner side of the thigh, Sanders notes. He lost a lot of blood. Probably was a femoral artery that was hit. The trail of red tells a clear story of movement. The victim did not die where he was shot. The detectives trace the heavy droplets back from the stairwell across the pavement, leading behind a row of large commercial dumpsters. The crimson droplets continue along a metal guardrail near the parking stalls. Near the dumpsters, a crime scene technician spotlights an item glistening on the ground. We have a 9mm magazine to a gun here, the technician announces. So we have a magazine, but we have no gun, Reams says, taking in the scene. We checked all those leaves. I really think you are going to have to get a metal detector. A puzzling element immediately catches the detective's attention, despite the apartment complex being densely populated. No one reported hearing gunfire. Nobody called in for gunshots, Sanders ponders. Well, it could have been inside of a car, Reams suggests, analyzing the physical layout. So, why would he hear a gunshot? Let us say he was in a car, parked right there, and he is talking, gets shot, gets out of the car, and the person takes off. As technicians search the surrounding ground, they uncover another critical item. Resting near the start of the blood trail, it was a cell phone, Reams notes. It is possibly the victim's, due to where the blood is. It is locked. Sanders inspects the device. Let us just do a search warrant on him. I will. Call Sam, and he can come in and start running this phone and dumping it. Potentially a lot of clues in the phone. Who was he talking to? Was he with somebody? Was he doing some type of transaction? Just going to be trying to do old-fashioned police work and try to find out what happened. While the forensic process gets underway, the detectives begin canvassing the immediate neighborhood, knocking on doors near the stairwell to identify witnesses. Sanders shows a photograph of the deceased to a resident. Do you recognize that gentleman? I have never seen him before, the resident replies, shaking his head. The detectives then speak with the couple who placed the initial 911 call. Did y'all hear any gunshots on them? Sanders asks. No gunshots, the husband answers. I work at Publix. I have got to be to work. At 8 o'clock in the morning, I am sleeping. His wife steps forward to explain what woke them. She was like, baby, it looked like somebody in front of our door, the husband recalls. So we got a dead one out there. You mind if we see the camera footage? Is that all right? Reams asks, noticing a small digital doorbell camera mounted beside their entrance. She got it on her phone, the husband says. The wife opens the application and plays the short video clip recorded hours earlier. The black and white infrared footage shows the young man stumbling up to their door, clutching his upper leg, desperately pounding on the glass before collapsing backward toward the stairs. Is that him? Sanders watches closely. We have got 116. He is going up to the door where he has been shot, but there is like nobody chasing him. You? No, nothing. All right, that is extremely helpful, Reams says. And your camera is accurate. On time, correct. Yeah, bro, the tenant confirms. Reams steps back onto the walkway, looking around the complex layout. I just do not know like with nobody hearing gunshots. No way I am calling. It is just weird. Something is not adding up. Nobody has seen him before. Sanders scans the structural layout of the surrounding buildings and spots a commercial surveillance fixture higher up. There is a camera right here on this building. Yeah, there is one on the pole. And there is like one on this building. Are these cameras with Verkada? I think we have Verkada at that entrance. Reams nods. There is a city-managed Verkada camera pointing at the apartment complex. We will go for Verkada when we get back to the office. That is the good thing in our favor, is that there is one entrance. As dawn begins to break, the coroner's transport van pulls into the parking lot. Reams checks in with the transport team. Is the coroner going to be able to identify the knight? It is going to be tough until we can figure out who he is, Sanders replies. All right, I am going to head to the office, Reams says. Within 2 hours, automated fingerprint processing yields a match. Sanders receives the notification. I got him. The coroner got it from his fingerprints. Aurelius Siren Nelson. 21-year-old Aurelius Siren Nelson Jr., known to his family and friends as C, was a native of James Island, South Carolina. A father to a young son, C was loved by those who knew his vibrant personality.